Welcome to New Realities. My name is Alan Steinfeld, and on this program I'd like to explore the possibilities of who we are as an evolving, spiritually connected race on this planet, where we're going to, and how the nature of our perceptions about reality are changing. Today's guest is someone who's devoted a lot of time and energy into explaining the process of this evolution, and he's a channel for Bashar. Darryl Anka is the guest, and he will be channeling Bashar, who is a consciousness from another time and space. So I'm very excited about that possibility of doing this channeling right as we see it live. But let me talk to Darryl. Hey, Darryl.
Hi, how you doing?
Good. So you've been channeling for Bashar for
24 years.
24 years. And what I'm curious about is the process of what you do to tap into that other place in order to bring this entity through. Could just describe that.
Yeah, the connection process, as I understand it, is kind of a telepathic contact, and what I've been trained to do is change the frequency of my own brain waves to be something closer to the level on which they exist, and at the same time Bashar will do the same thing from his end, so that somewhere in the middle the brainwave frequencies meet and lock together. And what you then get is his thoughts translating into the language that I obviously was raised to understand, which is English. He's not speaking, he's just sending thoughts, but I'm translating that because our wavelengths are synchronized.
But how do you actually make that shift to go there?
Well, in the beginning, when I was being trained, it was a matter of going through different kinds of meditational exercises in order to learn how to get the brain waves to shift that way. At this point, 24 years later, it's a very automatic thing. As soon as I just open myself up to that connection, the process just now happens automatically, and it just takes me to that level.
So just before we go into the channel, so you sort of relax into yourself, you would say?
Yeah, it's kind of, for me, it's like falling into kind of a daydream state. And when Bashar is coming through, I don't so much hear the words in much the same way that if you were having a daydream, you might not hear somebody come into the room and call your name, or the words would sound like they're a million miles away. I have my own experience, which is sometimes energetic. Sometimes I'll feel maybe the emotionality of the concept that's being discussed. I might get abstract images. I don't always know how those images relate to what is being discussed, but I know the concept that's being discussed will sink into my consciousness in whatever way I might need to use it in my life, but the words are completely secondary, and when I come out of it, it's like waking up from a dream. The whole thing just fades, and I don't really know what was said.
One more question before you go into do you ever play with those states of consciousness in a sense where you may just experiment and sort of go there, but hold a little back just to observe your own mind?
Well, I think channeling is a natural state that everyone can do and everyone does from time to time. Anytime you become involved in anything you love to do and you get lost in that moment, that's a channeling state. So I certainly use that state creatively in my own work, in film and art and things like that. So I think everyone does that, and I'll certainly use it in that context. And sometimes, rarely, I might open up to just get a download, let's say, from higher levels or from Bashar for something I may want to specifically know about, but I don't use it for that as often as I just use it for my own creative expression.
So it's been fun these last few years?
Yeah, it's been a terrific ride.
You don't feel like you've missed a part because some channels complain like I'm not there?
No, well, no. I mean, there were times when I was channeling so much that it was kind of like I didn't have a life and I wasn't really grounded here. I was kind of like sort of dizzy half the time, and I just learned to regulate myself because it's equally important for the channel to learn and grow from this experience as it is for the people that the information is being delivered to. Right. So it's important for the channel to also take the time to have a life and incorporate that information.
Great, great, thank you.
Sure.
So,
ready?
Can you just could you talk as you do it? Is it possible you can't talk us through it? So we can all get there ourselves.
No, sorry.
Okay. No, okay, so
Yeah.
do your thing. I mean,
all right.
But could you just describe a little bit where you put your mind before you actually go in there?
Well, again, at this point, all I really am doing is just relaxing in a way that just opens me up to whatever is going to connect. It's the best thing I can do is just describe it as a state of total trust. It's like you're putting yourself kind of in someone else's hands for a moment and just letting that energy take over the driver's seat.
Yeah. It's so exciting to watch because it's as if at some point someone grabs the back of your neck and sort of yanks you.
The energy will align my body
Yeah.
in order to make sure that it is where it needs to be supported. The breathing will change and everything to add extra oxygen to support the extra energy. So everything that's happening is simply an automatic side effect of the need for my body to be able to sustain that state in a way that doesn't exhaust me. It actually energizes me at the end. So
Thanks. Okay.
Sure.
And you can try this at home.
Or do try this at home.
Okay. Thanks. This is exciting. I don't think anyone's ever actually channeled on the program during the interview, but no, go ahead.
I'll say good day to you this day of your time. How are you?
Very good. Thank you so much for being here.
It is our pleasure always to co-create these transmissions with each and every one of you. For in doing so, we are allowed to experience through all of you different facets of the multidimensional crystal of all that is. It also forms a link and a bridge between your reality and ours, and creates and generates a third reality in which we may all one day interact more closely. So we thank you for this opportunity, and we thank you for this gift, and we invite you to commence in whatever way, shape, or form your imagination so desires. What would you like to discuss this day?
Well, first of all, the process, because I talked to Darryl a little bit about what happens. Are you waiting on this other side for him to just go to that space?
No real waiting is happening on our behalf because we can instantly sense when the connection needs to happen. Time for us is not what it is for you. We may be having this communication with you in what you would consider to be your past or your future. So it doesn't necessarily interrupt our time frame when you decide to do this. So it is simply a matter of our consciousness being aware of when a connection is being made, and when that connection is being made, our lives will synchronistically simply allow us to be at the right place, the right time, in order for the connection to happen. And we simply allow it to form.
So you weren't busy doing something else like having lunch or something and then decided?
No, besides which we don't eat.
Okay, no, but the synchronicity is so much a part of how your society functions.
It is exactly how our society functions. Not just a part, it is in that sense the overriding controlling factor. We allow synchronicity to be the representation of the orchestration, the natural harmonic orchestration of all that is, when each and every individual in a society is allowed to be the full individual that they are and allowed to express themselves to their full capacity, then you will find, you will discover that an automatic orchestration of unification and harmony takes place and guides each and every individual to be at the right place, the right time, interacting with exactly whom they need to interact with at exactly the right moment. And there are, in that sense, then, no accidents.
But some people say that actually is also happening here.
It is, but you don't know it.
Right.
And so the idea is to be aware of it so that you can utilize it in a way that is to your positive, constructive benefit, instead of allowing yourselves to also create the idea of what you might classically call negative synchronicity, which also does happen.
So by being aware that everything is happening for a divine synchronistic purpose, we get tapped into the flow.
Yes, and in riding that flow, in riding that wave, each and every individual is also supported in whatever that individual is most excited about accomplishing or doing or expressing in life.
So the problem that happens here is that the mind gets in the way, what you call the physical mind, thinking that we have to control things.
Yes, physical mind is not designed in that sense to control life. It is not designed to make things work. It is not even designed to know how things, in a sense, will actually come to be. Within a limited frame of reference, yes, physical mind can be used for pattern recognition and figuring certain kinds of logical ideas out, but it has limitations. And the idea is that in terms of how things will actually manifest in your life, what factors will actually come into place to allow your life to manifest and unfold in the way that would best represent your natural self, the higher mind is designed to do that, but physical mind is not. Physical mind is designed to experience what the higher mind has manifested, and thus physical mind understands what has happened. But it operates mostly in the idea of the present experience and past tense. And thus, when the physical mind attempts to use past experience to attempt to figure out how to create future manifestation, it becomes frustrated and stuck, and often will find that attempting to do the same thing over and over again will simply put it into a rut or a cycle. Whereas if physical mind learns to communicate with higher mind and allows higher mind to simply bring to bear how something needs to happen, and physical mind simply sits back and allows itself to experience that manifestation and understand how it did happen, then physical mind is doing the job it was designed to do and allowing higher mind to do its job as well.
Because we are really the higher mind in essence, in our divine essence, would you say?
Yes.
Okay. One little thing, or if you could back up and tell us where you're from, who you are, basically, what time frame you exist in.
We are in what you might call an alternate dimension of reality, although we have our own discussion, shall we say, with physical reality. We have our own experience, shall we say, with the idea of physical reality. You would perceive us as somewhat physicalized. In our reality, we exist, like you, on a planet. In its ancient term, it is called Ethithani, which means place of living light. We are, in that sense, genetically related to your species, which is why we bear some resemblance to you, as we are an offshoot hybrid race created in part with human genetic material. We, in that sense, are also evolving in our own capacity, and in that we are connected to you, in that you are our ancestors, so to speak, us being in our reality seemingly about 300 years in your future, we thus reach back to you across that divide from one dimension to the other to also be of assistance to you and to answer the invitation that your people have given off with regard to awakening to spirituality and inviting in any consciousness that is also willing to participate with you in the adventure of that awakening. And so, like the relationship that I have with the physical channel sitting before you, where I am, in a sense, the channel's future self, and the channel, in a sense, is my past incarnation on your planet, we are thus then, in a sense, the same soul. And this is true with many of you on your world. Many of us on our world are, in that sense, the future incarnations of many of you. And thus we will reach back to ourselves through our consciousness, and thus aid and assist you, in your experience, to move up the ladder, even as we also move up the ladder, aided and assisted by higher consciousnesses above and beyond us.
So the soul is a continuum of expression. In a sense, all soul experiences are happening at the same time.
Yes, time in that sense is your illusion in space-time reality. Everything is simultaneously coexistent, yet at the same time, because it is coexistent, we can break through the barrier of the illusion of space and time and speak and connect to any being in any reality, no matter what time frame it seems to exist in within its own cognizance. Yes.
So we are like a film existing within one frame of a continuum,
Yes.
and
we exist in another, but also you can come from the point of view of what you might call the film's projectionist, where you can hold the strip of film in front of your face and see all the frames at the same time.
Exactly. So there might be somebody that wants to channel through Bashar in some greater evolution of this soul's expression.
Yes, and this does occur.
It does. Who would you be channeling?
My own higher self, which is connected to non-corporeal consciousness, connected to the star system that you know as Sirius.
And you are where, in what star system 300 years in the future?
Again, the idea of our star system is called Sha, but it is not in your physical reality, so unless you make a vibratory adjustment to our dimension, our star is invisible to you, and from our reality, your star system is invisible to us unless we shift into your reality. But if we were to overlay our dimensional reality and our galactic coordinates with your dimensional reality and your galactic coordinates, you could say that our star system is about 500 of your light years in the direction of the Orion constellation.
I see. So you moved. So you sort of moved out of the home planet Earth after the hybridization of the Greys and humans.
I have never existed on your planet.
How?
Our civilization in that sense was created, and the planet in that sense was formed for us as well, and our civilization placed on that planet to grow and to learn.
So where's Earth now 300 years in the future? Can you tap into that?
It is, in that sense, a planet that has changed drastically from what you understand it to be in your present day and age, and it is a civilization with whom we interact, and it is a civilization that also belongs as a member of what we might loosely call an association of worlds or an interstellar alliance.
What sort of changes have happened on Earth? I feel close
There
to it.
have been many different kinds of sociological, economic, and political changes. You have created what you may call a type of organizational system that actually functions as a coordinating body to allow there to be the coordination of skills, the coordination of resources for those that require it. There is also the idea of unlimited energy sources tapping into the planet's electromagnetic field directly. In that sense, you have reversed much of the idea of what you call pollution on your planet by that time. You have, in this sense, also erased many of the national borders, not all of them, but many of them. You will find that you have begun to change your economic system to something based on the skill sets of the individuals in the society instead of what you might refer to now as an artificial or arbitrary means of exchange. You have begun to grow more crops in a variety of ways to feed many more people on your planet, but you have also allowed people to begin to extend to other planets as well as you develop spacecraft similar in function to those that we possess.
I know part of the reason you're here is to make this transition into our global conscious society.
To assist you in doing so, not to make it for you, but to assist you by giving you a perspective that works for us, and if you choose to decide that our perspective works for you, then you can in fact incorporate it into your reality as well.
Well, it seems like something's working. We are opening up our consciousness to this type of phenomena, and many people are evolving
Yes.
to a higher state. So this initial change, you said, will begin in 2012, but it's already begun.
The idea of a higher form of accelerated change will allow foundations to be laid down. Even though you are crossing a threshold of energy and consciousness in 2012, you will begin to see some of the fruits of this change between your years of 2025 and 2033. And by 2050, you will find that you will have made enough changes so as to truly be functioning as a full-fledged member of the Interstellar Alliance.
So you've said in the past 1/3 of the population has been abducted by gray aliens in order for your experiment to be carried out.
It is not our experiment. We are the result of the experiment, and it is not exactly an experiment.
Oh, right.
It is the idea of the continuation of their race through the utilization of your genetic material, because the Greys are not extraterrestrials as you understand it. They are mutated humans from a parallel reality who destroyed their civilization and destroyed their ability to reproduce, thus requiring viable human genetic material to create a hybrid race that would continue their civilization, thus coming into your parallel reality by agreement on a higher level and utilizing the genetic material from physical bodies that actually represented incarnations of those gray beings on your planet, and thus then creating a new hybrid race or a series of hybrid races, such as one being ourselves, that would allow their civilization to continue and at the same time also help uplift your world by delivering information and messages to you about your environment and your ecological imbalance to make sure you would not go down the same road that the Greys went down when they destroyed their version of Earth.
But many people are also upset about the fact that they have been used in this experiment. Yes,
it is not an experiment.
Or maybe, sorry, this program, this hybridization people are upset. They may have agreed on one level, but
yes,
many people are
the physical mind does not often remember that such agreements were made. And while it does not excuse the idea of the fact that many of your people have been traumatized, nothing malicious was intended, but simply misunderstandings in the difference between the gray sense of emotionality and the human sense of emotionality, whereas the Greys for a long time could simply not relate to the idea of the fear that humans experienced because they do not experience the same thing at all. And thus, in knowing that it served a higher purpose, they could not fathom the fearful reaction on behalf of humans. But over time, they have come to adjust their program to take into account the idea that humans have an emotional base very different from their own, and now you will find that the agenda and the program has changed quite drastically.
So in a sense, they've learned and they've developed their own...
They have.
And they've developed an emotionality, which is really, I think...
They have not developed an emotionality so much as they have developed a sense of empathy.
Mm-hmm. And so these hybrid beings are now...
such as ourselves.
Such as yourselves are much more feeling.
In that sense, we are a balance of both worlds. And thus then, in the creation of the hybrids, the Greys allowed us to also begin to interject and assist within this program so as to bring more understanding of the human side into the program.
So you're feeling love. You're an essence of love.
Yes, we live in a state of unconditional love.
And do you have other emotions, anger, sadness?
We do not choose to experience those things, although we always recognize they are possible to be experienced. We do not invalidate them as choices. We simply do not prefer to choose them, because we find at this point in our evolution, it simply serves no purpose, and we are transparent enough to ourselves to understand there is no reason to express any situation in that way.
So what do you feel that I could possibly relate to?
Excitement, joy, love, creativity, passion, compassion, empathy, expansion.
I see. And that is a common feeling. So if something doesn't work out, or...
There is no such thing from our perspective as something that does not work out. Something may happen that is unexpected, but we rejoice and celebrate in that because we know that it will reveal something to us that heretofore we did not know. And so to us, that is cause for celebration.
Ah, I see. So you're always engaging the unknown with excitement.
Absolutely. In that sense, we never see the idea as an obstacle or an impediment, but simply a challenge to discover something new we did not know before.
So what kind of things happen in your society? I mean, like for instance, the channel, Darryl, may just hang out, talk on the phone, watch television. You know, that's a common sort of thing. But in your civilization...
I specifically am a pilot that pilots a ship, that explores many different civilizations. I am also a first contact specialist, which is why we are having this discussion. Because these discussions are prelude to contact. It is one of the ways, depending upon the society, that we open up to contact by creating these dialogues through individuals such as the channel before you, so that in dispensing information into your society in this way, Your people, based on their belief systems, do not necessarily have to believe that this information is coming from an extraterrestrial source. They can make up their own minds as to whether to apply the information in their lives or not, and we are not in any way, shape, or form forcing you to take our word for anything that we choose to experience. Thus, then, when individuals of their own volition choose to incorporate some of these concepts that we share with you into their own reality, and it changes their frequency, it changes their vibration, it changes their reality, and makes their reality more conducive to contact, then eventually, because of the change in your reality, becoming closer to our reality vibrationally, we can then one day have closer physical contact. But these are the beginnings.
But that's one level of it. That's, you're talking to the conscious mind, physical mind. The other level, there's this 1/3 of the population that has already had contact and been in touch. So,
but that contact is different.
It is, but it's left a mark on the soul. So there's a sort of...
It has not left a mark on the soul. It has only left a mark on the psyche, which is also being adjusted.
So, but we're coming at it from two ways. You're coming at it through the physical mind, and we've already had this experience.
We are coming at it through the physical mind and through your higher mind. Remember that the only way you are capable of actually hearing us and experiencing our vibration is if you model our frequency in your own higher mind and then communicate these concepts to yourself. Otherwise, you are incapable of hearing us because we operate on a completely different frequency.
I see. So you're
then your own higher mind communicates these ideas, trickles them down to your own physical mind, and allows your physical mind to come into harmony with them, so that there is also peace and joy in your own physical mind as well.
I mean, I feel in harmony with you and very much in touch with this. I feel like there's part of me that has already been genetically altered for the last maybe 3 generations in my family.
10
generations, thank you. And they've done this in order to take genetic samplings in order to kind of match the frequency that the Greys want to integrate into their genetic system, right?
Yes.
I see. So...
but again, this is by agreement, whether your physical mind remembers it or not.
Actually, I don't really remember all of it, although I do have vague memories of this little being being placed in my hands. In this,
yes.
And that was one of my...
early hybrids.
Early hybrid children, in a sense.
Yes.
I see.
Different degrees of genetic material will wind up in different hybrid children.
So I've had a lifetime of abductions, basically, would you say?
If you want to look at it that way, or you could say you have a lifetime of co-participation in a very large-scale program that will benefit your world immensely.
Well, I don't
It depends on how you wish to look at it.
No, I'm actually very honored to be the father of an alien race. I think that's...
We thank you for your participation, without which we would not be.
Right, and I think it's...
Great-great-great-great-great-grandfather.
You mean we're related?
Distantly.
Meaning some of my genetics went into Bashar.
Not directly, but into the lines.
I love that. Thank you. Could I talk to one of my direct descendants?
No.
Okay.
Not in this way.
Okay.
But you have already, many times, in your dream communications. It is simply not appropriate at this moment.
Because I'm not at that frequency.
It is simply not appropriate at this moment.
Okay. Now, you say you're only bringing through a small percentage of this energy.
You are experiencing somewhere between 2 and 3% of our energy at this moment.
Could you amp it up a little bit to see?
No.
I just want to see what it feels like, but you're saying no because why?
Because we are considerate of the channel's body.
Oh, I see. Okay, I get it. Because if you did that, what would happen to his body?
You will find there will need to be time for adjustment, and he would not be able to accomplish what he needs to accomplish in the rest of his day.
Okay, I respect that. I just, maybe at some other point we could just play.
Possibly.
Because I'd like to just feel some of that energy. Is there anything I could do on my own to amp my energy?
Follow your excitement every moment that you get.
I am trying to, I'm living that way. I'm doing that. And,
all right.
Do you feel that? Is there anything I'm missing?
We are sensing that you are expressing that as often as you care to. We also sense that there may be opportunities for you to choose it more often. And the idea also of changing some of the labels in your belief systems and definitions about how you look at life on Earth may also be of assistance in amping up your energy.
Any particular labels that you are aware
Those
of?
that most of you consider to be the idea of negativity, and those that you consider most to be the idea of control and fear. it would serve most of you best to look at these ideas in another, more positive way, so that you do not attach yourselves to them.
I'm also, just on a personal level, could you tell me anything about relationships or the ability to connect with others?
Synchronicity is the key. Always, if you are simply being the best self you can be and following your highest joy, will you follow accurately the thread that is your accurate, true, natural path, and by following that path, you will always, without fail, meet every single person you are supposed to meet on this journey. The only exception to that ability is worrying that you won't. Worrying that you will not meet who you're supposed to meet when you're supposed to meet them will make sure that you don't. But if you simply follow your path by following your highest excitement, then that thread will automatically, by definition, incorporate every single encounter you're supposed to have to fulfill the idea of the fulfillment of your theme that you chose in this life.
Excuse me. So following my highest excitement, even though it may come up that, how am I going to do that? I mean,
you see, this takes us back to the idea that the physical mind does not need to know and isn't designed to know how that's going to happen. Only higher mind knows that. Physical mind does not need to know how it's going to happen. Physical mind only needs to follow the compass needle of excitement and know that it will happen in whatever way actually serves you best and everyone concerned in the best possible way.
I'm getting it, and as I feel that, I feel the increase of vibration with...
There you go.
There I am. Thank you.
All you need to do is be in that state, because you see, the most important thing for most of you to remember is that circumstances don't matter. Only your state of being matters. Circumstances don't matter. Only your state of being matters. How you respond to circumstances is what determines your state of being, not what the circumstances are.
So in that sense, nothing you do matters in your expression, in the sense, right?
I did not say nothing we do matters. I said circumstances don't matter. So any given situation that pops up in your life is not the determining factor of the state of being you exist in. The state of being is the determining factor of the circumstances. And if circumstances pop up that look like a state of being you no longer prefer, responding to the same circumstance from a new state of being is what lets you know you actually have changed. Whereas if you simply respond to old circumstances in the same old way you used to, then that tells you you haven't changed. It isn't whether the circumstances have changed that tells you you have changed. It's how you respond to circumstances that tells you you have changed.
I got it. Thank you.
Yes.
And so another interesting question is that you have said there is no meaning.
There is no built-in meaning.
We impose meaning.
Yes.
But that sort of contradicts with what you said about geometric shapes and the...
How so?
And the symbolic forms of certain...
How does that contradict it?
Well, there's a sort of innate understanding of symbols and shapes.
But that is meaning you have created.
But we've created it unconsciously because...
I didn't say that you didn't put meaning into things unconsciously. I just said you are putting meaning into things. The things themselves do not have built-in meaning. It doesn't matter whether the meaning you put into it comes from your conscious or your unconscious mind.
Well, who programs the unconscious mind? Because
you do.
From what level of reality?
From the physical level.
Because it seems like there's an innate...
it is not innate, it is learned.
So certain patterns seem to...
Are learned.
Are learned, but subconsciously learned.
Yes. And becoming aware of them is what allows you to bring them into your consciousness and unlearn them.
Unlearn them.
Yes.
So
and replace them with new ideas, new labels, new definitions, new beliefs.
So we're always being programmed on a subconscious level by our interactions with reality.
Yes, and in that sense, how you respond or react to the reality that shows up tells you what your programming is, so that you can see whether your programming is in alignment with your true natural self or out of alignment with it. That's what emotions are for. How you respond and how you react to what happens in physical reality tells you whether What you are generating is in alignment or out of alignment, whether you have beliefs that are in alignment or out of alignment with your true natural core self. So you use the emotions as a barometer to get in touch with the beliefs, change the beliefs if you don't prefer them, and thus then generate a new response to the reality, which generates a new experience, which reprograms you.
Okay, but there are certain shapes that impact us, geometric shapes that have an influence on our mind, right? Because we've chosen that.
Because you've chosen that. You've chosen to imbue them with those representations. Yes, we understand that you do some of this automatically, and we understand that you have a collective agreement so that you don't have to think about every little thing. Otherwise, you would have to think about the next step and the next step and the next step and the next step. We understand that some of this seems to be automatic. Nevertheless, you all did it by agreement.
But we have crop circles that are giving us new images,
Yes.
and we haven't agreed to any meaning, but yet it seems like there's a meaning.
It is up to you to recognize the meaning you actually have created.
When have we created that meaning if these
On a
images...
higher level.
Oh, I see.
Where you have agreed to co-create these things, show them to yourselves, get a response and a reaction from your physical mind that can then explore how to come into alignment with what it is you have co-created.
Okay, so the basic line of this is that none of reality is what we really...
You could actually end the sentence there.
None of reality is...
Yes. It's your reflection. Physical reality does not exist apart from your idea of it. It's all happening internally. There is no external reality.
But I'm interacting with you and others.
You think you are.
And I'm really only interacting with my own projection.
It is not that others are not real, but what you experience as the interaction is made out of your own energy in your own reality.
And I exist as a multidimensional crystal.
You do.
And so I'm...
And also as a facet of the multidimensional crystal.
Of all that is.
Yes.
So I'm choosing to exist just on this level, and I could choose to exist on any level.
You do exist on many different levels. It is simply that this particular facet is experiencing this level in a particular way based on the definitions of this experience.
Okay, so I want to tap into these other levels because I'm sort of feel like,
The first step is to, as you say, know that you already are on other levels. Knowing that opens you up to receiving information from them consciously. Now, you already receive information from all the other levels, from other lives, from different dimensions. You receive information constantly. There is a constant cross-communication from all of the different experiences the total you is having. But you don't always recognize those communications in terms of where they're actually coming from. Sometimes you just think they're your own thoughts, your own inspirations, when in fact they may be coming from experiences that another aspect of you is having in another reality. You don't always need to know exactly where it's coming from, and sometimes knowing where it's coming from may actually interfere with your ability to use that information in your present incarnation here.
But I'm only conscious of this moment right
No, you're not.
I'm not.
No.
I'm only aware.
No.
I'm not.
Are you speaking to us?
Yes.
Then you are already aware of another level altogether.
But I'm still aware of it as an interface with my consciousness. I mean, I'm aware.
It is an interface with another level of your consciousness, but it is an interface with another level.
So my interaction with you is creating, like you said, a third reality.
Yes. And you are experiencing that.
I see. So what is it that you come back and learn from us here in your level of reality?
That we can transmit to anyone a variety of ways of transforming limitation, because Earth is one of the few planets where we have discovered such a high degree of self-imposed limitation. So the idea is that if you have plunged yourselves into that degree of limitation and can still transform it, then anyone can.
So at the end of time, all our souls' incarnations come into a singularity, right?
There is no such thing as an end of time per se.
But
there is a level on which all souls function as a singularity, yes.
And aren't we already there?
Yes.
So,
but when you say we, the answer would be no, because you are speaking from a different we than the we you are referring to as the singularity.
So me, in this moment, is a splintered fracture of that whole...
Yes.
But I am also aware of something that exists on that level.
Oh, you are you?
Yes.
I thought you were not aware of other levels.
Thank you. I guess I am.
Yes, I guess so.
Okay, I'm getting what you meant by...
Thank you.
Okay, that was a good one.
Thank you.
Okay. And I think what you possibly can learn for us is the sensitivity of our fragile emotional state, the empathicness of our...
Your emotions are not fragile.
Okay.
Neither is your consciousness, though you can make it seem as if it is. Remember that the idea of the experience of fragile emotions is simply a designed experience. They are not innately fragile. It is simply a chosen experience.
What was your experience of the talking to the group I set up with Paul Lowe at Harbin? I mean, how...
Our general experience of that group, in general, not going into any specific differences within individuals, but in general, their collective energy was the closest representation we have experienced of speaking to our own kind.
And so they're an example of what we could live as on this planet.
They are the beginning of such, yes.
Okay, is this happening anyplace else on our planet?
It is.
Do you have any names? Damanhur, is it happening there in northern...
We are not commenting.
Okay, so you don't want to tell us where because you don't...
Because it is part of an unfolding process in which all these places will ultimately cross-connect, and we will not interrupt the flow of that process. The timing is critical, and we will not change that timing.
Is there anything I need to know about a past life connection that will help me engage more energetically in this moment or future?
There is nothing anyone empirically needs to know about any other life to engage your present life fully.
Part of my UFO experiences was the last one I felt I was walking around a ship and I kept touching my third eye with my own free will, and I sort of got the sense that they could no longer control me and they couldn't work.
They never have in that sense, really. April, remember what we spoke of?
Yes.
And remember what he just said?
Yes.
And you know what the question is, don't you?
What is the question, April?
Earth is the experience of God touching his own forehead and asking, who is touching me? That sums up the Earth experience.
So when I did this on a ship, I
Awakened to your God self and recognized that you are the one always in control. You are the one touching your own third eye, no one else, no matter how it seemed.
I also got the message at that, thank you for that, got the message at that time that they could no longer work with me in the same way that they had been.
Simply because the vibration has changed, so the work must now happen in a different way on a different level.
And is this television show part of that way?
You know the answer to that.
I guess it is, so.
Is it not part of the following of your own passion?
It is.
Is it not the dissemination of information along these lines? Then does it not automatically fit within the overall picture of transformation and growth? Or you wouldn't be doing it, would you?
No, I want to put this out to a bigger audience.
You already have, remember, just by your existence, this goes for all of you, you already have, just by the fact of your existence, all the impact you will ever have. Nothing you do in life will ever create or generate more impact than you already have just by your presence. The things that you do in life, the expressions of your creativity, do not create more impact. They reveal the impact you're already having.
So there's emotions by simply looking at them and striking
Mirroring.
yes.
Again, this is the source of all telepathy. When you are on the same wavelength as another individual, when you mirror them in all the ways you can, it isn't that you are reading their mind, it is that you are having the same thoughts at the same time because you're in the same vibrational state. Right. This is why people who are deeply in love often know what each other is thinking because they're having the same thoughts at the same time because they operate on the same wavelength.
But it also is reflected in paintings and pictures.
Yes.
And how does...
I did not say there was a limit to the way it is expressed.
So how does that work? Because if we're looking at a painting that may express horror or shock, we're feeling that as well.
You can, but it depends upon the context and in that sense the story that is being told and what it opens up within any given individual, and so you have to take it on a case-by-case basis.
But there's a mirroring that happens with any image of human expression.
Yes, of course. And it is up to the people involved to decide to what degree they wish to open up to that mirroring and what they wish to explore that mirroring for.
Okay, Alex Huxley, it was William Blake that said, if the doors of perception were cleansed, we would see things as they truly are, infinite.
Yes.
But we put a limitation on that in order to create
and that's all right.
Yes.
It is not inherently bad that you have limitations, for that allows you to experience the process of creation itself, and that is valid within the eyes of all that is.
But we've also put a limitation on the limitation. We've also locked ourselves into a pattern.
As we call you, you are the masters of limitation.
So I want to help express and expand to be more unlimited.
Follow your passion.
And that's what
Get in touch with your beliefs. Change what doesn't work for you to what does. Follow your passion. The passion that you feel, the excitement that your body experiences, is the body's physical translation of the vibratory state of being that represents your true natural core state. That's why it's important to follow your passion, not just because it sounds like a good idea. It's because that's what brings you into harmonious alignment with your true natural self and helps you remember who you are and experience your life in a less limited way.
Because who we really are is joy, it's love, it's excitement.
Who you really are is all that is.
Which is excitement.
It is fundamentally unconditional love, allowance, acceptance, support, joy, excitement, passion, compassion, yes.
And that's what you're doing.
It is who we prefer to be. It is who you can also all prefer to be, but we leave that up to you.
So when you leave here, where do you...
When we disconnect from the channel.
Right, what happens? What's that process, if you can talk about it a little?
It is simply like shifting consciousness. It is simply like walking through a door into another room.
And then where do you go?
I am in my spacecraft above the area on your planet called Cairo.
You're there right now.
I am.
And so you're just using this body as a sort of
biological receiver, biological translator, yes, telephone if you wish.
Are you aware of other realities on the ship as well as this one?
Simultaneously, we can be contacting many different dimensions and civilizations, and often are.
How many people are on that ship?
Just myself.
Oh, you're the only one on the ship?
It is a small scout craft.
I see. But you're in touch with your civilization.
Of course.
And
many of them are listening in.
They are.
Yes.
Say hello for us.
Already said.
Oh, thank you. So you are existing in our time space even though you live 300 years in the future.
It is simultaneously coexistent with your reality, but our vibratory frequency, the dimensional frequency, would be perceived by a typical human consciousness as being 300 years in the future, even though we simultaneously coexist.
If time is a personal experience, though,
Yes.
how is time travel possible? Because there's no uniform time.
Because it isn't time travel. It's simply frequency shifting.
So if I'm experiencing reality like this, if I shift to another frequency, it's just my personal...
Yes.
So I can't...
You have on your planet your television device. At any given moment, there are many more than just one program available for you to watch, but you only see what channel you are tuned to. If you change the channel, you change to a different frequency, a different program. The idea of shifting to a different dimension or even a different time is no different. You just shift frequency.
Well, I'm very happy to be tuned into this channel right now.
And we thank you for allowing us to tune into all of you. We will extend to you at this timing our deepest appreciation for the co-creation of this link, and we bid each and every one of you, individually and all of you together collectively, a fond, exciting, passionate, and creative good day.
Thank you, Bashar. Good.
How did it go?
Thank you. How are you? It was beautiful.
I'm fine, just I'm waking up.
No, I know. I got a lot of energy out of just you say that it's not so much the words, it's the whole expression within the words I'll let you wake up.
Sorry, I'm a little
No,
fuzzy.
no. Okay, okay. But that is what Bashar has said in the past. It's not just the single words. It's everything that goes along with the words. And I was getting that actually more because I felt the sort of an energy field around that was actually impacting me. So I feel a little different.
Good.
And you're fine, right?
Oh yeah, when I kind of wake up, I'll
Okay.
be like waking up from a nap.
Right. Okay. It was a good nap.
Oh yeah,
People
always.
observing.
Always.
No, thank you. I've been talking to Bashar and Darryl, who's just channeled Bashar. If you have any questions about Bashar, you can tune into the website www.bashar.org, and April will answer your questions. And there's material on there, and anything you want to know about Bashar. Darryl is doing his own thing,
Films
and all that, and good luck with all that.
Thank you.
And I'm Alan Steinfeld for New Realities, and if you want to contact me, email me at newrealities@earthlink.net or newrealities.tv or newrealities.com. Thank you for watching, and hope to see you next time. And any comments, I welcome that. Any questions for Bashar, get them to me or bashar.org. Thank you very much.
Thank you.